Brisbane, Australia, March 9, 2025.
That one's probably gone.
The impact of Cyclone Alfred continues to wreak havoc in many parts of Queensland, Australia. An entire Queensland town has been totally blocked off by raging floodwaters in the wake of ex-tropical Cyclone Alfred, as the downgraded system continues to wreak havoc across the east coast. Rivers and creeks are flooding in southeast Queensland after days of torrential rain, and residents are bracing for the situations to deteriorate. There has been a string of rescues as flash flooding took some residents by surprise.
Okay, look at this big massive tree. That was scary. I'm going to stay in here too long because I can see the water too.
They're going to questa regione che I don't think anybody in that car. Attack senza
On Sunday, heavy rain caused flash flooding in parts of Brisbane, inundating homes on boundary streets and Wynnum roads in Tingalpa, swamping cars in Newmarket and Stones Corner, inundating garages in Nundah and surrounding businesses in Carina. Flood and weather's alert are also in place from the Sunshine Coast right down to the New South Wales border and to the west of Brisbane.
Jesus Christ. Should we put more sandbags out?
Brisbane, which has now flooded badly 4 times in 15 years, impacts from flooding have been mostly concentrated about suburban creeks rather than the Brisbane River. More than 100 roads were closed, with low-lying areas in Windsor some of the first to go under. The coast at Morningside on the city's south side was evacuated after its car park flooded. Wollongabba, Corparo, Carina, Carindale, Rincelands, Oxley and Greenslopes have also been affected. Many residents said the flooding this time was similar to that in 2022, when the city's tributaries overflowed. Inojera Dam, which feed the Inojera Breakfast Creek catchment running through the Brisbane northern suburbs, was at 240% capacity on Monday and water flowing above the spillway. Downstream water levels peak about midnight, but authorities are watching closely to see if the tides spike again. State Emergency Services rescue teams have spent most of Monday morning searching through dozens of cars. Many could guess the water peak overnight, checking to ensure no one is inside. Thousands of people living near rivers and creeks in southeast Queensland have also been warned to seek shelters or find high ground, amid concern about more flash flooding in the aftermath of ex-tropical Cyclone Alfred. More than 230,000 households and businesses are still without power as heavy rain continued on Sunday night and into Monday morning. Emergency alerts have been issued for rivers and creek catchment in the Brisbane, Gold Coast, Logan, Ipswich and Lockyer Valley areas. Some people have been advised to move to higher ground or to seek shelters and that water levels could rise quickly. The alerts relate to the Nundah, Oxley and Goverley Creeks in Brisbane, the Upper Oxley Creek and Albert River in Logan, the Albert and Logan Rivers, Tallybudgera Creek and Currumbin Creek on the Gold Coast. There is a block of flats almost adjacent to the creek, low-income housing that might have been demolished after the 2022 flood, where people are starting to quickly bail out with their possessions. Along Ashgrove Avenue, sandbags are out protecting homes that flooded 3 years ago. Some are still rebuilding or in the process of being raised above the flood line. The great concern now is more rain, particularly if it comes in a very short period of time. There is nowhere else for the water to go but into homes. There's little more locals can do, but hope it doesn't continue. There is a familiar feeling for people in Brisbane who have faced the same situations 4 times in 15 years. The city's flood-prone design being asked to cope with massive volumes of water. Every time the creek rises, so do the city's anxieties, as the creek spills in the same places it did 3 years ago. Almost to the day, that familiar feeling seems return over and over again.
Our local cricket field. Now our local swimming pool.
Schools are due to reopen where it is safe to do so on Monday, and residents are cautiously optimistic as authorities say Brisbane is likely to be spared a repeat of the devastating 2022 floods. But homes in Tingalpa on Brisbane's south sides were flooding, and water was rising in garages at Nundah on the north sides. After 100 millimeters of rain, almost the average monthly rainfall for December was dumped over the city in 2 hours on Sunday morning. Premier David Crisafulli said schools will open wherever possible, wherever it's safe to do so, although an APLEN test would be postponed for students across southeast Queensland until March 17. He said the state government was in talks to make hardship payments available for people and businesses affected by the weather. The national broadband network was also deploying generators in a bid to get 252,000 households back online. More than 1,500 live wires were on the ground in the southeast Queensland across the weekend. Ex-tropical Cyclone Alfred made landfall at 9 p.m. on Saturday after doubling off Brisbane Island, where it sat for 12 hours without moving on Saturday. When it finally arrived just north of Brisbane, the city was buffeted by howling gale-force winds, making it an uncomfortable night for many. Trees were uprooted and came crashing down on houses, cars and power lines. Debris flew through the air and windows and door rattled, catching residents by surprise after the weather had remained benign for much of Saturday. Giant fig trees in Brisbane CBD were toppled. While power is slowly being restored, many homes and businesses in southeast Queensland and northern NSW are entering a fourth day without electricity. In southeast Queensland, more than 225,324 people were without power as of 3:30 am Brisbane time, compared to more than 350,000 24 hours prior. In northern NSW, about 12,000 homes remained without power last night. Updated figures will be released in the next few hours. Energex said the number of properties with power outages caused by ex-tropical Cyclone Alfred will continue to drop today as crews repair fallen electricity poles and live wires.
That was